might be asking, what are the main points which I wanted people to take away from today? Well, one of the crucial things is that the level of complexity and the pace of change is phenomenal. And so I wanted them to really get to understand that almost every metric they've inherited is probably obsolete. In other words, we have to relook at what we provide as HR professionals to the people we look after, but we have to look beyond that to what the people we look after provide to our students. And then we have to start from our students' need, not necessarily what's in the government requirements, and build backwards from that, because what's good now might not be what we actually need to deliver. So that was one point. The second one was to try to help them to realize that learning was crucial, especially in the world of complexity. Absolutely essential to learn so that, one, you can reduce the level of complexity, but also take advantage of new opportunities, learn what's not working so you can stop doing that and therefore reduce your workload, lower the level of complexity and be able to do more. And I really wanted them to get the fact that going to find out stuff you don't know is brilliant. When you're uncomfortable and it's different, when it makes you laugh, when it makes you scared. But also secondhand learning from other people, because you can't figure everything out, and learning from curated sources. People will say, have a look at this, how about this, how about that? As opposed to trusted sources who claim this is the new root method best practice. No, they're making it up. The world is changing too fast. Anyone who tells you they know best practice is just making it up. Don't trust them. Just learn from people who are in the same boat as yourself, or are curating, or learn yourself directly. So those are that was the second point. And then the third one was really about making sure that as they step into the future, they've got the right skills. So I listed a bundle of skills which I thought they wanted to take away, of which learning is one, but there are other things like resilience and so on. So those are the main areas. So I tell you what struck me about the discussions today was we were working obviously in a virtual environment, which has not been digital Smith. So it was basically we were limited in what we could do. But we had a chat function. So I was able to listen to the chats in my session. I was also able to know what had happened in the previous session. So if I do both of those, the previous sessions basically built quite systematically on the different areas people have got to deal with: the human elements, the mental health elements, the student elements, the ability to be able to grade and understand where people are and what they need to do next. But in my session, I was watching the chat. What's interesting was that people were really starting to get insights from the whole day, and also from my session, on how they should behave differently, how they should think differently, what they needed to do. I asked them their hopes and fears, and they said things like they wanted to know how to engage with diverse audiences. They wanted to understand how to make sure that they could actually have effective building of communities when they're spread out, and also, most importantly, get other people to move forward, to trust them, and to stop blocking what's going on. So those are the things which hit me sort of bang between the eyes earlier today with the session. So what we have is we have a lot of complexity. We have demands from students, we have demands from government, we have costs of living, we have changing content, and the list goes on. So if you were to ask me, what are the top issues which universities and colleges should prioritize in this type of environment, I would say the first thing you always do is you focus on what will bring in the best fastest. I call that question one. You try and figure out what will bring in the best fastest. The only way to define the best is to look at what your customers, consumers, and clients want. So I would want to look at what the students, the kids, need to survive in today's world as we go through the process of educating them. Now, some of that we know ourselves because we're all suffering through the complexity of the world and the chaos. So we could actually say, I know it's really great to let them do all these exams on X, but it would be really useful if somewhere we taught them how to manage, I'm going to be slightly biased, projects, because they're going to come out and they're going to have to deliver change. Usually higher education, I don't know, they tend not to teach project management, maybe they do, I don't know, but even little things like how do you manage change? They're going to come out, they're going to have to deal with lots of people. How do they manage engaging with people? I don't know. But there's stuff which we would have to put in place which means that the students come first. And from there, once we understand their needs, we know we're doing the best for them first. We then work our way backwards to what curriculum, what content, etc. See what we have to do to comply with whatever regulations we have, and then all the way back through the people delivering the learning, the mechanisms, and then into the whole organizational process of the institution. So that would be my thing, which is prioritize the endpoint first. The second one is to reduce the amount of time they waste. So anything which you've done for a while, which you love doing, but actually you're not sure adds to this new process, you probably want to stop doing. Many people do stuff because they love their job. So when you love your job, it means you're doing stuff you enjoy, not necessarily stuff which is useful. Always worth remembering that. My guess is that most of us, especially in the technology field, which is an area I've spent a lot of my life in, much of the stuff we're doing is dreadful because we've bought technology. We've taken technology from technology providers where 16-year-olds in California have coded what they think we need, and then we end up having to live to that because human beings are flexible. Objects aren't. The pen can't write me. I write with the pen by moving my wrist. So if you take a technology and it's rigid and it won't let you function, you adapt yourself and you underperform. The third one is to try to release any resources or activity which are just tied up doing nothing. So that would be my next priority for them. Try and do that. The fourth would be find the minimum level of compliance because innovation is going to require you to change. And if you are covering as much compliance as you possibly can, you won't be able to innovate. You won't be able to bring any value to anyone from both the students right the way through the organizations. And the fifth one is make sure that you learn fast as an organization, but also enjoy it. In a world of complexity with all these pressures, unless the leaders, the people in there, can bring joy and happiness of some format, the people inside the organization will struggle to perform because life is quite complicated at the moment. So those are the priorities I would put.